For the most part, the Sermon on the Mount and the Sermon at the Temple, they're identical. But in general, I think what we see in 3rd Nephi is, if I can put it this way, Christ can kind of let loose a little.
Okay.
He can be the resurrected Savior that he is. When he gave a similar sermon in the New Testament, he was at the beginning of his ministry. It was too early to let loose and be really on the nose about his status as the Son of God because he couldn't get the Jewish leadership too upset yet. So what we see, for instance, in 3rd Nephi is that Jesus is much more elevated in his references to himself. He's willing to refer to himself as perfect. A classic example, for instance, is at the end of chapter 12 in verse 48. He says, "I would that ye should be perfect even as I, or your Father who is in heaven, is perfect." In the New Testament, he doesn't say even as I. He just says, be perfect like your Father in heaven. But here, he can say that he's perfect because he is. He doesn't have to be cagey about that. And then he says more often things like verily, verily, these little phrases that elevate and emphasize his teaching. Again, he doesn't have to hold back and pretend to just be kind of a nice teacher. He can descend from heaven in a resurrected body and say, I am the Savior. And so that, I think, adds more emphasis and weight to the sermon.